Welcome to this video on deploying the Syncfusion Dashboard service in a server machine for production use. Syncfusion Dashboard service is a WCF application that runs on the server side and provides the data needed for Dashboard Viewer plugin, which will be on the client side to render the dashboard. You can either host the Syncfusion Dashboard service in IaaS or in IaaS Express. It is highly recommended to host the Syncfusion Dashboard service in IaaS for production use. Once the SDK setup has been installed, you can find the Dashboard Service Installer folder under the Common folder with two applications. One is to host the Dashboard Service in IaaS and the other is to host the Dashboard Service in IaaS Express. Now let us see why the Dashboard Service is needed and where it can be obtained for hosting in a production server machine. When deploying your application with the Dashboard Viewer HTML5 control in a production server machine, to access the required data, the Dashboard service should be hosted and running in a production server machine and reachable by the Dashboard Viewer control added to your application. Also, the Dashboard service should be accessible to the dashboards in the file path configured with the Dashboard Viewer control. Therefore, the configured dashboard files should either be placed in the same server machine where the dashboard service has been deployed or available online and downloadable from the dashboard service through the link configured in the file path. To get the Syncfusion dashboard service related files, refer to the installed samples folder location from the app data folder in the SDK setup installed path. Under the common folder, copy the folders dashboard service installer and service along with their contents and paste them in a desired location in the production server machine. Let us see how to host the Syncfusion Dashboard service in IaaS. Ensure that you have enabled IaaS in your server with WCF HTTP activation enabled and you have the administrator rights to host the dashboard service in IaaS. Now run the IaaS installer. It requests the port number for data transmission. You can enter any one of the available port number. Enter 5060. Now the message shows that Dashboard service has been configured successfully. You can find the Syncfusion Dashboard service in IaaS. Let us see how to configure the SSL, that is Secure Sockets layer, in our IaaS web server. SSL is a standard cryptographic protocol to establish a secured communication between a web server and browser for data transmission. To configure the SSL for the dashboard service in IaaS, open the service folder and run the Syncfusion Dashboard Service Configuration Manager application. Administrator privilege is needed to run this application. Now you can enable or disable the SSL settings. Restart the service in IaaS after SSL is configured. Ensure that the service is running properly by opening the service URL in a web browser. This SSL configuration is applicable only for IaaS and not for Windows services. You can find the deployment documentation link in the video description. Thanks for watching.